Welcome to the Prettiest Podcast.
I'm your host, Treviana.
And I'm your host, Allie. And today, you guys, we are here with Cauliflower.
Yes.
Yes.
Y'all, she is so gorgeous, and we are just so lucky to have her here. Because when I say you've been popping it on the scene, and your backstory, your music is just so unique, and the world needs to hear it.
Yes, they do.
Eat down.
Eat down. Thank you so much for being here, girl.
I'm excited to be here. I just want to say first and foremost, I love your guys' marketing and branding. Like everything is so cute and spot on. I was like, yes, I need to be on this podcast.
I love that.
Thank you, girl. Thank you so much for being here, girl. We're finna have a good time.
Yeah, and we all pretty. Come on.
Okay.
The prettiest.
Yes.
Okay, girl. So we know that you're originally from Hawaii. Like, how was that transition to move to Dallas? Or how long have you been in Dallas? Like, what's the backstory on this?
So I've actually been in Dallas since I was 8. So it wasn't like too big of a I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Let me back up. It was a big transition because coming here from Hawaii. Have you guys been before?
No, I would love to go.
Gosh. Okay.
I hear it's beautiful. You gotta let us know about the culture.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the culture is so different down there, and we speak broken English. It's called Pidgin. So when I came here, I was like almost scared to speak because I knew it wouldn't be like English has always been my worst subject because of it.
Oh,
but we got better.
See, we're growing.
Yes, yeah. So it was a huge shift, but honestly, I felt like it was really a part of like God's plan.
Oh,
to, like,
you know, I feel like sometimes stuff definitely be like divinely aligned.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Even though you were young, you never know. Like, I feel like God be moving pieces in our lives. So you never know where, you know, it made you here.
Yeah.
But you're here right now.
Right. And I was so excited to be here. As an 8-year-old, I was like, Hawaii, I want to go to Texas.
Okay. So you've been to Texas since you moved from Hawaii?
Yes.
Wow. That is very interesting. So how has like the Hawaiian, do you bring any of the Hawaiian elements or your like foundation into your music?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot, and I feel like it's not so much like the actual music because obviously my music's more pop R&B forward.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
And in Hawaii, it's like that reggae island vibes, which I eventually do want to like tap into that for sure. But I do think as far as what comes with me from being from Hawaii is just like my aloha spirit and how much I really like. Down there, it's all about love and respecting each other, no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, what you do. So I feel like I really try my best to bring that to the community here. And like everything that I do, I just want to embody, you know, being from the islands.
Yes,
you know what they say, the islanders, they be having them voices, vocals.
They
sing. I be on TikTok, they be singing.
They do be singing, and it's clear as day that it has passed down for sure.
So how did you first get into music? Like, what was that journey for you?
I think for me, it wasn't like that one moment where it's like, aha, like this is it for me, you know? I think you just kind of, you have your interests as a kid and then your hobbies. And for me, it was always listening to the radio. I had really young parents, and so my mom would always have like Destiny's Child on, and my dad would be playing like 50 Cent, The Game, that type of thing. And so I always took a liking to it. And I feel for me, whenever we'd have talent shows or like choir in school, like I was always just wanting to do those things. And so I'd always sign up. Like I was performing 1-2 Step by Sierra in the church.
Listen,
y'all, that's CD?
The 1-2 Step by Sierra, the way she had
I was definitely a promise girl.
In a chokehold.
I was trying to do the little microphone trick. I was trying to do the microphone trick in the bedroom, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what I was
trying
doing.
To slide down like anti-gravity exists.
Oh yes, child. I was definitely trying to pop that.
We love that. We love that. So I wanted to ask, if this is more for the girls. So what is your number one girl code?
Ugh. I feel like I'd have so many.
I know, because there's a list.
Book.
There's a list.
I know. There's so many of them. I think for me, if I had to think of one right now that I'd put at the top, it's really just like genuinely and authentically like supporting the other person, you know, because I feel like for me and being in this industry, it is so hard to work with female artists.
Really?
For me, at least, like my own experience, yes, because a lot of people are always like, oh, Carly, you have all these songs with like all these dope guys who are artists, but why don't you have a girl song? And it's like, I've tried to coordinate a girl song. Like, to be honest, the one I just did in Miami that I was telling you about, I think was the first one
where you're like, this actually vibed with, like,
or even that it actually fell through going into a studio with another female artist.
Wow. So do you feel like when they say the culture is kind of like women against women, do you feel that in the industry?
You know, I think depending on what genre you're talking about, I think that can be really present. But I feel like for me, it's not so much that it's putting us against each other as much as I think that sometimes, I don't know what it is. Maybe we're a little bit like weary with opening up to like another
and that's
female.
what I think it is.
Maybe
I think people have PTSD from like friendships, and I can see that though. Or like I feel like you can carry like the relationships that you've had in the past with women into like what you do, and I don't think we really realize, because it's kind of like I don't know, like, you know, especially when you've been hurt. But I think that's with anything, like when you've been hurt before, you kind of just be like.
But sometimes, just from the outside looking out, I do feel like it's a dog-eat world. With anything that you do, it's always competition. So even if it's not like directly like competition, it's almost like it's not enough food on this plate. You know, homegirl, like,
which is crazy to think
that. I think for me too, just like my experience again, it's always just like trying to get, almost like getting the group trip out of the chat. Like that's like it's such a hard thing. And you know, maybe it's also because a lot of female artists are in like such a high demand with like getting on other songs, doing things, you know, because for a girl, I do believe you definitely have to work 10 times harder in the industry.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
With anything in life. I feel like with anything in life, but especially with the industry when the foundation was men and women, we have to come in with basically voices from God to be, you know, or just that unique factor, like as you
like, so do you feel like as a woman, like, do you feel like that pressure of having to like show up as in a certain state, or like, you know how kind of like they push like sexy, or like, you know, like, oh, I have to be like sex sales or this, like, do you feel like, is there a certain image that you have to push, or, you know, you could just be yourself?
I mean, to be completely honest, like, I'm gonna be real, if you do want to be very marketable and successful, there has to be
a little sex appeal.
It has to be. And I think it all comes down to the psychology behind the way people work and how this industry works, right? So I do think you can 1000% be yourself, but you have to have, and maybe it's not even just sex sales, but you have to have an edge about you. Like, there has to be something that star factor, I think.
Right.
The full package. The full package.
I agree, because for me, it's one of those things, like, with women, it's kind of like we have this innate thing that if we're not like sexy, we're boring. And it's not even in a bad way. It's not even in a bad way. It's really just kind of like the audience that you're trying to reach.
Right.
You know, if your target audience is younger people, men, you know, or even just women, sometimes we just like the girls to see the girls. Right.
Well, and I think that's kind of just what's pushed right now, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I do feel like, you know, well, I feel like, you know, like sex appeal has always sold for women, but I do feel like back in the day it was like almost cliche. It was almost like one of those like behind closed doors type things. Like, you had don't get me twisted, because they was out there, they was some little freaks.
Okay.
They was still y'all see them 90s freak nicks. They was freaks. Okay, they was freaks. But I do feel like now it's more just where society is. I do feel like we're very much like, you know, 666. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
It is. But then I feel like you see artists like KWN, right? Where it's like, but she just has like that edge. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm sure she has sex appeal to a lot of people. Yeah. But it's not where you look at her and be like, oh, that's sexy. That's sexy.
Yeah. And it could be what you're tuned into.
Right.
And that really could be, you know, what it is.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Have you always felt like, you know, well, I know you did say you was like, it wasn't like an aha moment, but like, was there anything else that you were doing before music, or like did you have a different passion, a different path?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Okay.
Like, yes, being a kid, I always just had a passion for anything arts. Like, if it was arts and crafts, I was in it. I loved fashion design so much.
Yes.
Social media was like a big thing that played in my life too, like from MySpace days. So I like had that. Like, that's why I feel like I'm so good at what it is now, because I like embody that era of, you know, social media. And so it was like all those things I loved to do. And then when it came time for me to go to college, I was watching the show at the time. I don't know if you guys remember The Hills on MTV.
I do.
Oh, yes.
I
was obsessed with it. And so I was like, I want to do whatever she's doing, because they'd be at all the parties, all these events. And so when I Googled it one day, it came up that it was public relations. So I was like, oh. So that's what like piqued my interest into getting into that lane. But as far as just like entertainment and arts, like that's always just been second nature, I feel like.
Yeah.
To me.
I feel like when you're into arts, it's kind of like one of those things where you've always been kind of into it. Like whether it was painting, whether it was singing, or just in general, like I feel like it's always one of those things. Like,
I feel like you have to be an artist to make art, and I feel like as you make music, to me that's just a different form of painting a picture. Because when people listen to your music, you have to be able to take them outside of themselves in a way into your world, and I feel like you can only do that as an artist. Like, I'm painting the world with my words, so I think that's beautiful, and I can definitely hear it through your music. Like, I feel like it's a vibe where it's like uniquely yours, and when a person hears your music, they know they're listening to you.
Yeah,
so I love
definitely
that.
Agree.
I love that because
I know I feel like I'm like very smooth, very much like I feel like like cutesy, like very relaxed for sure.
For sure.
I love that.
So